So this is our first and second slide in our PowerPoint. So I am trying to learn about zero exponents. So just like in our intro when we talked about how any number to the zero is going to be 1, here's kind of some examples, some practices for you guys to do. So if I have 4 to the 0, 4 to the 0 is going to give me what? Well, like my intro said, any number to the 0 power should give me a 1. So it was any whole number should give me 1. If I have a fraction to the 0, that should also give me 1. When I have a negative though, if I have parentheses around the negative and the number, so just like I have here, parentheses -2, and it's to the 0, this is going to be 1. However, if I have a negative without parentheses, it is not going to be 1. This is letting me know that the 2 has the exponent. This negative is separate. So this is the same thing as me saying -1 times 2 to the 0. So kind of like if I said x minus 2. This 2 is a positive 2. This negative is separate from this 2. All right? So that's kind of the same idea. This negative is separate from this 2. The parentheses on this one lets me know that these two guys are together. Without the parentheses, it's letting me know that it's not together. So it's -1 times 2 to the 0. So nothing, I have no exponent. Well, I do, but we'll talk about that in a second. -1 is going to stay the same, times 2 to the 0 gives me what? 1. So I'm going to have 1. So -1 times a +1 gives me a -1. All right, so that should be my answer for that one. So again, it's because this negative and this 2 are not together. They're not being held by parentheses. So because they're not being held by parentheses, it's the same thing as me saying -1 times 2 to the 0. That exponent 0 is connected to the 2, not with your negative. All right, so then I do it separately. -1 times 2 to the 0. 2 to the 0 gives me a 1. So -1 times 1 gives me a -1. So my answer will be -1. When I come over here, I have a decimal to the 0 exponent. So even though I have a decimal, it doesn't matter. I'm still going to get the answer of, that's right, 1. Again, I see parentheses. This lets me know that the 2 and the x are being treated as if they're one number. So parentheses lets me know that they are together. And you have that to the 0 exponent. So you can kind of think of, parentheses meaning like a wedding ring. Those two guys are together, so you can treat them together. If they don't have parentheses, and that's kind of like they're dating, they're kind of, going out, but they're not together. So parentheses, you're going to treat it together. So 2x to the 0 is still going to give me that 1. However, these two guys are not together. I have to treat them separately. Which one has the 0 though? The 2 or the x? Give you a second to think about that. Which one has the exponent? The 2 or the x? If you said 2, you're wrong. If you said x, you're right. So I'm going to separate these two guys. I have 2 times x to the 0. The 2, we're not dealing with the 0 exponent, so I'm going to leave it as 2. The x, however, has a 0. So x to the 0 gives me, that's right, it gives me a 1. And 2 times 1 gives me 2. All right, So now, for the last one, 0 to the 0 power. 0 to the 0 power gives me not 1. This is actually the one exception to the rule, and there's always an exception to the rule when it comes to mathematics. 0 to the 0 power gives me undefined. So I can't figure that out. All right? So again, 0 to the 0 power is the only exception to the rule. 0 to the 0 power, if you see that, you're going to write undefined. Those are the nice ones because you leave it as undefined and move on. So again, any number to the 0 power, no matter if it's a whole number, a fraction, a negative, as long as it has parentheses, a decimal, two numbers in the parentheses, you're always going to get the answer as 1. The trickiness comes when you have negatives without parentheses. Make sure that you separate the negative with the whole number or whatever number it is, because it could be a decimal or a fraction. And if you have parentheses with multiple numbers or variables inside, you want to be able to separate them out and figure out which one has this variable. All right? So again, any number to the 0 power will give me, let me see, can you hear it? 1. All right.